We can never start this. We just practiced too.
Well, I don't even know because you're the one pressing record. I don't know that you're fucking ninja recording.
When I say we're live, that means we're recording. Bro, how long you been in the fucking podcast game?
Guy.
Actually, I can see the recording button up in the upper left-hand side.
No, I saw it.
Yeah, because you pay attention, okay?
All right, cool.
Excuse the mess behind me, guys.
Is that why you
through the archive?
Is that why half your head is cut off in the video?
No, that's because
your
my
laptop
fucking computer's fucking broken, and I gotta fucking,
I mean.
So what's going on, fellas? How are the holidays treating you? How is COVID Christmas?
It's regular now, right? Like, don't feel like much different than the rest of the year.
All right, let's cut to the chase. Who's getting the vaccine?
I'm not trying to like put out negative energy, but I'm not getting that shit.
Yo, I've been feeling a way about that. Because like I feel like it's kind of irresponsible for me to say shit like no, for me to say shit like that.
No,
like,
that's what I'm trying to say. Like we might want to edit that.
Nah, I don't think we edit it at all. But I mean, that's how we feel. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, I think those that feel strongly about it should. I think eventually I'm gonna get it, but I'm not going down the path of doing it when the shit's first out.
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't trust any of these politicians be like, I'm the first one in line. Bitch, how do I... You probably fucking apple juice pumped into you.
Yeah, what batch did you get, motherfucker?
Yeah,
like,
dude.
show me that.
You know, so there's a couple things. One is I find it strange that we read all the lead up news to it. Like when the UK, up to the first day that you saw a lot of news about, but then it's all of a sudden it's crickets. I don't see anything like hardly any kind of follow-up stories on like people checking in like with anyone. How are you feeling a couple days after? Any of that kind of stuff. I find that a little weird. There's not a lot of follow-up news from it.
You know that it's not just the one time. You have to go back.
Yeah, gotta get the second one.
That's ridiculous.
3 weeks later. Well, it's interesting though.
Remix.
I heard it's like 80% effective is the average rate for just one dose, like the first dose. And then, at least for the Pfizer one, and then when you get the second one, that's when you get the 95%. Right.
And then what are they going to do about kids?
They haven't.
I think at this point it's like 16 and up, right?
Yeah, they haven't touched that territory just yet.
Yeah.
You saw that whole social media like meme or whatever, or the whole story is a fake story about the people with their crooked jaws.
So is that fake or not? I don't, because I've read several stories about the.
It's true.
The Bell's palsy.
Oh.
That's real from the vaccine.
So here's
this dude is foul. He said crooked jaw. Oh my god.
Yeah, the term is Bell's palsy for that.
Yeah, I'm thinking something like I'm thinking like Michael Jackson Thriller. That's what came to my mind.
So I was just reading about this a little while ago, and there were a handful of cases, I don't know how many, during the trials, and then also after the first kind of round of UK vaccinations, where I think it was 4 people, and I don't know about the trial. I don't know what it was with the trials, but then they developed this Bell's palsy, and what that is your half of your face, the muscles in the face stop working, so that makes your one side of the face droop, and you don't have any control of your muscle, jaw, or anything there. I think it's usually usually temporary.
Oh,
yeah. But, I have a friend that's had it for a long time.
Like it doesn't. I mean,
you have a friend that has it?
It has Bell's palsy, not from the vaccine.
Okay. Yeah, because I think it's caused by can be caused by viral infections and things like that.
Yeah,
actually, a dude from Drink Champs, one of our guys that like rolls with Nori, he had that from a dentist visit gone wrong.
Wow!
I thought for sure he was stuck like that. I was trying to be like all support, like, oh man, you good? This will be worked out. But in my mind, I'm like, for life. But nah, he came out of it after a couple weeks.
Nah, I know. If some foul shit happens to me, I know for real what you're thinking. Man, he's gonna be all right. Yo, man, he's fucked, son. Yeah, see, that's the kind of shit though. I mean, I haven't heard that, Kate, but because you in the news, you read a lot of news. I I'm gonna believe you because I'm sure you be checking a bunch of different sources, but like it's that kind of shit. Like we don't fucking know, bro, and I don't know how you cross that bridge. Like how do you go from because the vaccine, hands down, it's a necessity. Like I think everybody understands that, but being the guinea pig, I can't fuck with that. So then there's a tons of people that feel like we do. So then
right.
how do you get over the hump?
Everybody I know feels that way.
Yeah, everybody I know too. They're like, nah, I ain't doing that shit.
It's just because there's no trust in our government. There's no trust in even the medical officials, like the professionals. Like they're all over the place. Especially when you have Trump have his like Dr. Feelgood telling you whatever the fuck Trump tells him to tell us. You know? Like you don't know who to believe.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. But then it takes us even longer to get to a place where we can actually be safe, right? So it's a catch-20 fucking 2.5. Like,
yeah. Well, there's going to be plenty of people who are going to sign up and do it. Right. And I think from whatever kind of data or whatever, from the amount of people that get vaccinated,
and then everybody thinks Bill Gates and Melinda Gates are fucking out to destroy the world. I'm not sure about that one, man. I'm lost with that.
Yeah, I don't know anymore. I can't keep track of it all.
I mean, it is kind of nuts, right? The whole what was that shit before COVID hit?
That test run that they did.
Yeah,
in Africa,
the war games. Nah, it was here. I think it was in New York that they did it in a hotel.
Yeah, it was. We talked about it, right? I think we talked about it. Yeah,
the war game shit that they did.
Oh, that shit. Yeah, but also that they were testing a lot of these vaccines in Africa. Oh. And the Bill Gates and Melinda Gates were a part of pushing that agenda, which it seems pretty fucking crazy.
Speaking of Africa, though, from what I'm seeing, like Africa's in a way, well, a lot of places are better than we are globally, but like Africa's, because all the shit that they've been going through over the years, like they kind of have their systems kind of down, so their infrastructure is still able to support the whatever cases they do have. Because they've been through it a bunch of times with Ebola and other things,
right?
Which is funny to me because, like, everybody, you always think about Africa and you're like, oh, poor Africa, but shit, poor us.
We might not be getting all the news though, because when I've talked to some of the cats that I met in South Africa, at one point they were like, "Shit's fucked up," but now they're not saying that anymore. I haven't asked them.
I feel like that's what people in Florida say too now. Yeah, it's fine, everything's good.
Yeah, I don't know, bro.
How is Florida?
Did this shit even happen? Like, no. Look, this is the thing. This is the crazy shit, and I think we shouldn't dwell on this too long. Yo, dude, how many fucking people have died in this country? And we've said this before, like 9/11. Rest in peace. Everybody passed away. A couple thousand passed away, and we fucking go to war. We go crazy.
Yeah.
Here every day, a couple thousand people dying.
Isn't the number 300,000 at this point?
It's insanity, dude. It's insanity. And it's like almost becoming like, it's like normal. It's like we're in a war zone and people die and that's what happens. It's really, it's surreal. Like this whole pandemic shit, and maybe because it's older people mainly and people are kind of just like, whatever.
Yeah. Like they're going to go anyway type of shit.
It's, and I mean, I know a lot of people that their loved ones have passed away. So I don't know, man. This is weird, just in some weird ass times.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get to kids and weird ass times with kids.
So I have a funny story.
Oh, go ahead, because I have a couple.
A couple funny stories? All right.
Couple funny, and remember the shit that I hit you guys up the day that I had a fucking terrible day?
Why don't we start there? So we started with doom and gloom. Let's continue the trend and then we'll raise it back up toward the
end. Dude, I there was a day that from the early part of the day, I was like accidentally hurting my daughter, running into her
multiple times.
Yeah, like I had ran into her one time, like turned around, she moved my hand and kind of like hit her. It started in the morning. I got her out of bed and I went to do something by this light in her room, and when I was holding her, when I lifted her up, she hit the top of the light, the lamp.
Yeah.
But it didn't really hurt her, but I just started saying to myself early in the day, I'm like, oh my God, today's like a weird day that I'm like hurting my daughter. And it started freaking me out. And it culminated with the ending of the day where we're playing in her room before she goes to sleep. We were doing this little game where like she pretends to like, with some powers, make
Like
me
magic.
like fly away, and I fall on the floor, and like but like I had turned on the floor, and then she ran to me without me knowing, and I like, my big ass was moving with all momentum, swinging my arm to get my ass all the way around, and like before she's like right on top of me, and I literally like elbowed her in the lip, like hard, like bomb, like, and dude, my heart dropped. Like I was like, yo, I'm beating up my kid today. Like, what the fuck am I? And then she had like it busted her lip, started bleeding. Like I was like in shock. I didn't know what to do. I grab her. I'm like, oh shit, man. I go to clean. First, I want to just clean the blood. I didn't want her to see it in the mirror. So I just go, I grab it, I clean it. I'm like, she cried for a little bit, and then she got over, and then it started swelling, and I was like, no, God, I don't want to see her face deformed by my doing. And then I tell my girl comes in, starts crying.
Oh, shit.
I'm just
making
like,
you feel so much better.
Right. It's just like, my dude.
There's gonna be more. There's gonna be more of that,
bro. That I felt so terrible, man. So yeah, that happened. That day was really bad.
And like we were saying to you in the text, because your question was like, "Yo, does this happen? Like, did y'all go through this?" Right. And as you know, it's almost one of those things where I don't like to talk about, because it could, depending on who hears it, they might be like, "Yo, these people are abusing their kids," or whoever sees, your kid got a fucking busted lip, right away there's a bunch of questions. Right. But like, yo, it's kind of the cost of doing business in this parenting thing, because especially with
the play, like any kind of rough
housing
play. Yeah.
Right. Like, and the thing is, I made a conscious decision early on that I want to like play rough with my daughter. So if she plays with other kids or boys or whatever, I just want her to like be able to handle it,
Yeah.
No, I'm not roughing her up. I'm just not being all gentle with her.
Yeah, no, that's smart.
Yeah.
It happens. For me, it was so I was, and I had mentioned this to you guys, but like I was like swinging my daughter around, and you know how you like grab your kids by the arms and then you like twirl around and they kind of look like they're flying, right?
Hey,
I'm not doing it super aggressive because I'm afraid that shit will pop out the socket.
Yeah, so what happened to me with my daughter.
That's what will happen.
Yeah. So I'm chill. I'm doing it real, light. But I don't know what the fuck happened, but a hand slipped, and then now it's one arm, and I just let go because again I'm scared of the popping out of some shit. And I didn't think about it. I'm like, oh shit, who's holding the kid now? And it boom hits the floor, and they know how to fall, thank God, because otherwise it would just be face planting in the floor. That should be tough, but it hurt, and she was having so much fun that she kind of just like brushed it off, and it wasn't a big deal. But I'm like horrified. I'm looking at her like, okay, she's moving, she's still breathing, and I'm like, lift up her shirt to see if her chest is okay and all that, and she was fine. But bro, those are the heart-stopping moments. It's like, but then what do? You can't just stop playing with them because that's what they want.
But then you second guess yourself, and you second guessing yourself could cause more problems because, when you second guess anything, you could cause more accidents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Did you ever? I'm going off on a different note here, but related to your daughter. Did you ever check out that thing I sent you about making that secret sign or some kind of secret gesture with your daughter?
Tell me about it.
To curb the.
Come on, Kay. You know he didn't read it.
I was waiting for Manny to send me footnotes.
I like how you try to give you the benefit of the doubt. You should have just been like, yo, did you read the shit, motherfucker? No? Okay, let me tell you.
So it was basically, it was an article that some parent had written that they were having jealousy issues with their two kids, and that the older one was getting upset with the younger one getting any time that there was some attention given. And so what this person came up with was like some kind of, she created, I don't know if it was a he or she, they created some kind of secret signal with the older kid that only the two of them were connected with. So the example they had was like pulling your earlobe or something like that. And then so you would tell your daughter like, hey, when I pull my earlobe down, I look at you, that means I love you, and you do it back to me. So if you were sitting there with your son and she starts to get upset and she thinks that you're giving him all the attention, you look at her and you pull the earlobe, so you're actually talking to her and doing a secret signal that only she knows, so it makes her feel like you guys are now connected and you guys have some kind of, thing of your own that you can do even when your attention is on your son.
I've been doing something, I mean, not consciously for that reason, but we have something like that. It's not a sign, but it's funny because I tell her, who's my baby? And then she's like, Emmy. But it's funny now because it's like, I'll be like with the baby and she'll be like, looking at me like, come on, guy. Like, but I do it to this day. And then I'll be like, who's my baby? She's like, Emmy. And I'm like, I can't hear you. And she goes, Emmy. And that's like our little thing that is obviously just her and I. But yeah, I'll try the
you should have that. You should have that convo with her, like establish like a, look, we're doing the secret. It sounds like, I feel like your daughter would like catch on to that shit just based on the way you guys play. Like, you could just create this whole like alternate universe when you're with the son.
Right.
This means this.
Or she seems to be smart enough to know, like she'll look at me like, that's not enough. Like, that's not going to fix the problem. He's still here.
Yeah.
Like
give him away.
She's not over it still. Like today she was foul. There's a toy that's specifically his and he's playing with it. She walks up and grabs it and just walks away. Which she does that with all her toys if he grabs them, but this is his toy. And so I'm like, I get mad at her. I'm like, no. And then I put it and I forget about the toy and it's gone. And then I see her like a little, like maybe, 15, 20 minutes later, walk away and I kind of follow her. And because we're away from the toy now, we're in another room. And she grabs the toy and I see this like evil grin. She's like, and she walks away with it. And I'm like, I see you, dude. Like, yo. I don't know, man. I mean, I know that it's just gonna be. I think we're just gonna have to wait out when he can play with her, man. Because I don't see this getting any better or changing anytime soon.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's just going through it.
Another thing that's been interesting that I want to share with you guys is that has potty training ever gone wrong in a sense that she's pretty much potty trained, and now there's a new like phenomenon that's happening where she's so potty trained that she needs to go to a bathroom and only a bathroom. So sometimes we'll be in situations where I'm like, nah, bro, just pissing or crapping in your diaper because we can't make it to. And she's like, no. And she's like holding like, she's going crazy and she'll start maybe crying if it's too long. And we'll go to a bathroom and the bathroom is terribly dirty. Like, So we had this perfect storm situation. So we took the kids. They had this drive-through Christmas thing here. At
Santa's Enchanted?
No, this is at something at Tamiami Park where they have the fairgrounds here.
Mm.
So we go. We're like, me and my girl are like, okay, we're gonna try this with the baby also. Our daughter, and boom. So we go and it's a drive-through. So we get in the line to get into the whole thing. Dude, this thing it's going to take about an hour to get into it.
Mm.
My son starts crying because he doesn't like car seats. So, and his crying, it disables me. Like, I just want to faint. Like my knees buckle. Like I want to use his cry and sell it to the Pentagon. It's debilitating. But anyways. So he's going crazy. So my girl's got to like crawl, go grab him. She took him out of the seat because, we're in a slow moving line and he has a blowout. So my girl goes we have a third row in the truck. She goes to the third row. She's like, I'm gonna have to change him here. We forgot the wipes. Awesome.
That wouldn't have happened if you had to fly that bag. I'm just saying, just a shameless plug.
For sure. Because forgetting wipes won't have that. I guess the flight
it has a reminder. Has a reminder.
Yeah. It should have an alarm if you leave the crib. Like with it. You need to have shit in it.
Yeah. It should be a certain weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll tell that to the product engineer over here.
Then my daughter starts to go through I need to go to the bathroom. I need to go to the bathroom. I'm like, oh hell no, dude. Like, and I'm like, yo, just go in your diaper. She's like, no. She does this thing where she's like, she's like moving around crazy, and she's, and like she was moving, like, because we let her out of her car seat as well, and so she's like jumping around, crawling on me. I'm trying to drive.
Oh shit.
I mean, it's like 3 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It's like everybody has their kids out inside the car now. So I was just like, this is the baby's crying, blowout, no wipes. My daughter's going ballistic. Now I feel bad for her because we're not even in the place. So she's not going to really be able to enjoy it because she has, she's holding, whatever she has to do. We finally get through the whole thing. We were meeting Recognize in his family.
Oh, okay.
They had already went through the thing, and they had like an area with food trucks afterwards that people can get out and actually hang out.
You keep a portable toilet in the car with you?
No, we're on that now. Trust me, we're on that now, and I'll tell you what my findings
with the plastic bag liners to
all of that. So then I go to we meet up with them. They give us some wipes, but she wants to go to the bathroom, so I take her to the porta potty now in this food truck area. I go into the seat falls into the toilet. And she's like, I gotta go. And I'm like, this is disgusting. I can't even clean it. And I'm like, I take her and I like hold her and hover her up in the air.
God.
Trying to go. And I'm like, thank God it was just
you shake it out of her.
Like, just do it. Just go. I don't care if it goes all over me. Just go. And then whatever. It works out somehow. And I clean her as best as I can to make sure that none of the crap in that place got on her. And then that was that, and it was terrible. But right after my girl looked up and we want to get a portable one that's in the car.
Yeah.
The one that you could actually go into it.
Yeah.
You do. And then we found a portable seat liner that like folds up really flat, and then you can put
it's
it
in a bag. Yeah.
And you put it on the seat. We're gonna get all of that. They even have disposable ones. Have you seen those?
Potties?
Disposable potties that are like hard cardboard that say it holds up to 60 pounds, and at the end it has a bag, like a doggy bag.
Wait. 60-pound weight on the bowl, not 60 pounds of shit.
Huh?
Not 60 pounds of shit.
I'm sure it's both.
Wow. It's a couple kids worth of shit in there.
Yeah.
God damn.
So yeah, man, that's what we went through.
So the whole not wanting to go in the diaper after they've been potty trained, super normal. Every one of my kids has gone through that shit. And it's just sometimes they have to, and we just give them the fucking death stare until they do it.
And the holding of, because now she's doing some weird like holding dancing.
The dancing,
like my daughter not wanting to go to the bathroom even, and not wanting to go in her diaper.
Yeah. Yeah, that's common.
Well, that's good.
No, she's
potty
done.
Trained.
Yeah, she's potty trained now.
Yeah, she graduated, yo.
Yeah.
Damn, son, let's make some noise for that.
Woo, no book. We did it.
Nice.
Almost 3 years.
That's a milestone, man. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Damn. So a funny story about my youngest daughter.
Uh-huh.
So we went to Costco. Excuse me. And our ritual is when we get home, the kids pretty much put everything away. Like I'll carry all the stuff into the house, and then they go throughout the house and put shit where it needs to go. So we get in, and my youngest. So I'm telling the kids, all right, guys, time to put stuff away. And, I had to tell like 3 times for them to stop what they were doing and come. So finally the 2 oldest come, and I'm like to the youngest, yo, what's up? We need you. And she's like, not now, Dad. I'm having my own problems. She's 4 years old. So me being who I am, I want to get upset. But then I'm like, let me see what the fuck is going on. So I go over to her. My wife looks at me and she's like laughing at me because she's like, yo, your daughter she just punked you. So what you gonna do about it? So I go to my daughter, and my daughter's like, she's got some shit in her, like a hair tie tangled in her hair, and she's trying to get it out. And so she's like frustrated, like nearly tearing. And I'm like, yo, what's up? We need you at the grocery. And she looks at me like with this face, like, motherfucker, don't you see I'm busy? Like that kind of face. And she's like points to her hair, and I'm like, oh. And I'm like, you want some help? She's like, no, I got this, Dad. And she's like going at it. And then when she finishes, we're like almost done with all the groceries. She's like, finally, I'm here. I'm like, who the fuck are you, little kid? So she comes out with these like adultish kinds of things that you're a kid. You get your chiclets knocked the fuck out, right? I mean, when we grew up, we don't talk to our parents like that. But my wife and me, we laugh our asses off because it's super unexpected, and she knows way more than we could ever imagine. So, end of the story is she didn't really do any of the fucking work on this one.
All right, here's my question for you guys.
Sorry. That was supposed to be funny, but nobody laughs.
So Manny, how your son is 7, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We've talked a little bit about this before, and then it's regarding the N word.
Yeah.
So I've got a kind of a newish CD player in the crib now.
Wait,
and
you have a
Newish.
CD player?
You went retro?
Yeah, by default, that shit's old.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you just bought it.
Exactly. And so my son is all into, because I pulled out my old CD collection, and so he's just like going through it, and he's like, oh man, I want to, and he's like, where's the rap, where's the hip hop? And so he's wanting to go through all that, and he's like grabbing, and
That's
so it's
dope.
much easier, like when we're going through music on some of the streaming services, because you can see kind of like the explicit, the E and all that kind of stuff, and you can also pull up lyrics sometimes and and run
See
through it
what's
real
up.
quick. But I'm having a hard time remembering what some of the songs are on some of the albums that he's pulling out.
All right.
And so I know I've got to have this conversation with him at some point. And we talked about this on the pod a couple months ago. He's aware of the phrase, the N word, and he's aware that it's a word that's a negative word. And, he knows some of the history behind it. Right. But I'm trying to figure out, like, as we're going through music now and the N word gets used all over the place, but in a different context for the most part, I'm trying to figure out how to and when to have that explanation with him so he understands, like, here's how it's used in one sense and here's how it's used in another. And I'm wondering, Manny, if you've had to have that conversation with your son at all, or if he's aware of like the different contexts of the word.
Yeah. So we expose our kids now. I'd say now more than ever. I call ourselves really comfortable with what they listen to. The 2 oldest ones, the 4-year-old, we still try to prohibit certain things. But we did have, and I want to say it might have been like one Black History Month, maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. That was around the time frame when a lot of the Black History stuff obviously is being pushed around content wise, and we stumbled upon. I think it was something around like when Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. It was talking about that.
Okay,
and in it, like they were talking about the use of the N word and all the mistreatment of Black folks and all that stuff. And it was really, I didn't have to explain anything. It was really clear to him after, and my oldest, what the, I was going to say what the bad way of using it was. It's bad regardless, but you know what I'm saying? Like the slave
there's
master way of using it.
Yeah, there's 2 different usage.
Right. Yeah. I mean, none of them are
depending
good.
on who you are.
But more now, it's like when you hear it in a song, like he was able to make that distinction. He was able to know, contextually speaking, in the song, it meant like, yo, my dude.
Right.
Versus derogatorily, like, you are inferior to me. Like, he was able to make that distinction. And I think that was the the catalyst for that understanding, that mini documentary he saw. So we never actually had the conversation. It was just kind of organically, he understood it. And what's interesting is, well, it's kind of how we lay it down in our house, but like, we're like, yo, you're free to listen to anything you want, but you got to make sure you don't repeat any of it. And if you misunderstand anything, you got to ask me, because I need you to understand it. But again, back to the shit we've always talked about. It's like, when it's raunchy, we're not with it.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, I guess the cheat code for me was we had that documentary.
You had the documentary.
So I didn't have to have the convo. But that might be a good way to break the ice, though. It's like, I mean, there's tons of shit that you can probably pull out, but like something that talks about that era when it was really heavily used and how that's been, the portrayal of it and the significance of it at that time, and then contrast it with hip hop culture now. I think it might resonate. It might be an easier combo for you to have.
You know what concerns me about the future for our kids is the whole, like, we could tell them all these things that we feel are correct, or try to like say all these, whatever, give them all this knowledge or all this stuff, and then there's so many conflicting opinions out there, and from credible people, or people that people deem to be credible,
right?
Like, just like, for example, with the N-word, you have the people who are pro and people who are against it. Like, you'll have like Karis One going out there, saying, a reason why the N-word is not a bad word and should be used. And then you have, the other school of thought where it shouldn't be used at all. It should be eradicated. And so that's what concerns me about raising our kids in this future with all this social media and all this internet and all these information, because whatever you tell them can be easily contradicted depending on what their social circle is, maybe even, like peer pressure in that sense. It's like almost like internet peer pressure, social media peer pressure,
right,
or whatever they're looking at could just be like, well, what are my dad or what are my mom? What are they telling me? This is telling me this,
Yeah. Well, I was also hesitant just because I wasn't sure if he quite grasped the context of the two different meanings.
Right. At this, too young for that.
Yeah, it's like if I go in and I say, all right, here's this kind of definition of, let's call it the bad version of the word. And I'm sure that's going to be a shocker to him. I'm like, oh shit, and then all of a sudden here comes the other conversation of, then there's going to be folks who use it as a term of endearment or an equivalent to dude or man or something like that. But again, depending on who you are, I was just like, I don't know if how understanding he's going to be of and maybe I'm just, maybe I'm
overanalyzing
it a bit, and he will get it right away, just like your son did.
I think you got to give your kid more credit.
Yeah.
I mean, your son has, based on some of the stuff you told us, your son has exhibited a really keen understanding of a lot of things that are by and large complex, right? There's just a lot of shit going on in the world, and he seems to have a good sensory understanding of a lot of it.
Yeah, he does.
And I find, like, even my 4-year-old, like, we place the limitations on them and what we believe they understand, right? We kind of impose that on them. They come out with shit, my 4-year-old, and it's like, there's shit that, like my example a little while ago, like, if it was me, if I was the 4-year-old and my mother heard me say some shit like that, no doubt I would have got socked immediately. Right? I'm laughing about it, and I'm actually judging. I'm like, all right, she's having a tough time. Let me just like kind of ease into it and not really like overreact. And that's a big departure from what our upbringing was like. But giving them space to be able to kind of be who they are within bounds. Because like if she was like, "Fuck you, Dad," okay, now we're gonna have a problem. But if it's kind of within bounds, it's all good. And that's kind of the thing with them. It's like, the discovery thing. Them having the ability to trust us from an early age as their parent, to be able to tell us whatever's on their mind, and us not laugh at them, make fun of them, call them stupid because it might be something super like obvious to us. Those are things that are going to pay dividends later. Because E's point, like, yes, there's going to be tons of information that comes at them that contradicts shit that we believe is true. But at the same time, if we can serve at least as a sounding board for the questions that arise from the conflicting discussions that they come across, I think that's a W. Even if they go with something else, we're at least involved in that discussion and we can at least have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
And if they choose to go differently, at least we're aware, right? And I think that's a big difference than I think the fear you have, E, which is kind of like, yo, they could be, there's all sorts of shit that happening, behind my back, basically, and they're going off on their own tangent, and it may be completely false, but that's who they believe because of their social circle, etc. So I think all that to say, K, trust them, you're fine, and then just keep instilling the same shit that we try to, right? Which is like, yo, I'm here for you. Talk to me about whatever you want. I have a tendency to clown sometimes, right? When it's like, because in our house it's like that. Like we're kind of free flowing, funny,
right?
We'll kind of get on each other's case a little bit, and that's just part of who we are. But I've noticed I've held back a lot of that now more recently because I'm like, yo, that could easily become a point of contention for them that they don't even want to approach, and then it could be something valuable that we could have a discussion about that I'm basically I'm pushing them away from because they're expecting me to clown them. So I've just chilled with that shit and I kind of just take it as it comes and then, move from there.
Yeah. I mean, luckily the stuff he's been picking out lately, I mean, he pulled out Ultramagnetic today, and then the other day it was Gangstar's first album, and he grabbed PE's album, and then was another one. He grabbed the BDP Sex and Violence album. That had a couple questionable ones for him, but it was all right.
Has he listened to them on his own?
Yeah, he's been. So basically, we put it. I'll put it up in his room, and I'll pull out it's like one of those old the CD books. Yeah. And I'd lay it on the floor, and he starts flipping through. And then if I see him grab for something that I just know off the rip is going to be too out of bounds, I'm like, nah. He's like, come on. So you grab him. What about this one?
So you helicoptering
at the beginning. I want to see what he's grabbing first because, again, like I haven't had some certain conversations with him so that he gets an understanding before he starts hearing some things.
That Luke Campbell though.
Nah.
Gotta get that shit.
But like today, for instance, like he grabbed this Ultramagnetic album, and I was like, all right, there's probably some cursing in it, but that's for the most part, that's it. And then he put it on because he wanted to do his schoolwork while I was listening to it, and then I just left the room and just let him rock with it. So
that's dope.
Yeah,
look at you,
my brothers. I gotta go.
You getting drilled over there?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right, Joe.
You guys can continue though, please.
No, we can't do this without you, E.
We're good, man.
Yeah, man. Come on.
We're 40 minutes in. People are ready to turn us off.
Right now, I just envisioned K's son as like a gangster rapper.
Definitely don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
And on that note,
I'm straight out of Santa Monica.
These mean streets.
Yo. But then he's like a gangster, but he's mad cool and not on. He's like a nice guy, but then on camera, he's great. He's great. He's great.
Yeah, we're not raising. We're not doing that around here.
Oh man.
All right, fellas.
I hope we don't fuck these kids up, guys.
No, we're fine.
All right.
Y'all be good, man.
Cool.
My brothers. Sorry, I gotta go, man.
Cool.
All right.